Good morning, everyone. This is Lynn Sugiyama speaking on behalf of the Arizona Buddhist Temple here in Phoenix, Arizona. I want to thank you for your continued support and watching us for our Dharma messages on the Arizona Buddhist Temple Facebook webpage and also on the YouTube channel Dharma in the Desert. Unfortunately, we're still closed to the public due to the coronavirus, but I hope in the next several months we'll be able to open. So please continue to look for our updates on our Arizona Buddhist Temple webpage. So in the meantime, let's continue with this medium. I want to ask all of you to join me in Gassho. And this is from the reading of the Shoshinge written by Shinran Shonin. So please listen. All foolish beings, whether good or evil, when they hear and entrust in Amida Buddha's universal vow, they are praised by the Buddha as people of vast and excellent understanding. Such a person is called a pure white lotus. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Mandaps. So again, thank you for listening. Next week's going to be Halloween, October 31st. And so I know it's a fun time for the children to get lots of candy and also to hopefully scare some people. We at the Arizona Buddhist Temple, we like to celebrate Halloween. I know that it's somewhat a Christian and pagan holiday, but for us living here in the United States, we enjoy participating in things like Halloween. And when I was looking at the word for Halloween, the meaning of Halloween means holy evening. And so Halloween is a time to remember our loved ones who have passed away. And so it kind of reminds me of the Buddhist holiday that we celebrate in June, July, and August for the Obon festival. So here at the Arizona Buddhist Temple, we celebrate a little early in June because it does get too warm to dance outside, especially in July and August. So, Halloween, it was meant to humor people and kind of to make fun of the power of death. And so as time went on from the medieval times to today, it evolved into the custom that we have now in celebrating with costumes and giving out candy. So I know that at the Arizona Buddhist Temple, we've always had a Halloween party for the children. And so it was always kind of fun watching the young children dress up and parade around the temple. But we also have a potluck and games for the children. And so it's kind of nice for all of us as part of the Buddhist community to get together and to celebrate. So I wanted to tell you a little story that concerns Halloween, and it's all about this witch. And so the story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a young apprentice monk who lived at this Buddhist temple in the mountains of Japan. And so this young novice, young boy, this monk, he was always very mischievous, always playing games, always playing pranks on people. And so when he studied, he didn't really study very hard, and he would often goof around and take naps. And this always made the headmaster, the master monk, very displeased at this young boy. So one autumn evening, the leaves up in the mountains, in the trees, they were all changing color to fall. And so this young novice monk, he saw the trees and he saw the chestnuts growing on the trees, and they're starting to bear fruit. And so the chestnuts looked very delicious to this young boy. So the boy, the novice, he asked the headmaster, "Master, I like to eat chestnuts, so I like to hike up into the mountains and pick chestnuts up for all of us to eat here at the temple." And so the head priest nodded his head and said, "You know, they say that there's a witch, a mountain witch living in the mountains. Maybe you shouldn't go because the witch is known to eat up people." So the little boy laughed and said, "Oh, that can't be true. I think people just made that up as a joke. Can you please let me go to the mountains to pick up chestnuts?" And so the head priest, he just shook his head and said, "Okay, it might do some good for a mischievous boy like you to be scared for once. And if you meet the witch, this is what I'll do for you." And so the head priest, he gave the boy 3 lucky paper charms. And he told the young monk that if he ever gets into trouble in the mountains and meets the witch, to use the charms to protect him. And so the next morning, the young novice monk took a hike up to the mountain. And he got to the spot where the chestnuts were growing, and he found so many chestnuts ripe on the tree. And so he picked up as many as he could. But as he was doing so, he forgot the time, and soon it got kind of dark up in the mountains. And the boy noticed that it got a little spooky. And so he started to wonder whether there really was a mountain witch up in the mountains. So as he was picking up more chestnuts, he heard a voice behind him. And the voice said, "Oh, well, hello, young monk. How are you doing?" And so the young monk turned around and he saw this nice old lady standing there beside him. And so at first the boy got frightened, but the woman looked very gentle and said, "Since you're using these chestnuts, picking these chestnuts up, why don't you come to my house and we'll roast them and we'll eat them for tonight?" And so the young boy, he was very hungry. And so he was very happy to be invited by this nice young old lady. And so he went to the old lady's house, and there the woman heated up the chestnuts and gave them to the boy. And so the young boy ate as much as he could of the chestnuts. So he grew very full, but he also grew very sleepy, and he dozed off. So the little boy, he woke up in the middle of the night, and he looked around the house, and he could not see the old lady. But as he looked into the next room, he saw the lady had turned into the mountain witch, and she had a knife in her hand, and she was sharpening that knife. And so the young boy gasped, and he said, "Oh no!" And the mountain witch, looked straight at the boy. And so the old lady says, "Ah, you found what I look like now. What do you think, young monk? You see that I'm the mountain witch, and now I'm going to eat you up. And so the witch quickly grabbed out and tried to get the boy. So panicking, the young boy said, wait, wait, can you give me a minute? I have to go to the bathroom. Unless I don't go, I'm going to wet myself. So can you please let me go to the bathroom? And so the old lady said, well, I suppose I could let you go, but I want to tie you up in a rope so you don't escape so easily. And so the boy was tied up by the rope, by the witch, and he then entered the outhouse, the toilet, with the witch standing guard just outside the door. So a couple of minutes went by, and the witch calls out, young monk, have you finished yet? And the young boy called out, wait just a minute. Hold on, please. I'm still going. But the young monk knew that he couldn't keep up with this delay, and he was wondering what he should do. And then he realized he had the 3 lucky charms from the head priest. And he reminded himself that the head priest had told him that if he used the lucky charms, he could get away from this mountain witch. And so he took one of the charms and he told the charm, oh, lucky charm, please pretend that you're me and answer the witch. And so he was able to get the rope off of his body, and he snuck out the window on the outhouse of the toilet, and he ran as fast as he could back to the temple. So a couple of minutes later, the witch calls out, young monk, haven't you finished yet? You're so slow going to the toilet. And then the voice inside the toilet said, wait just a little bit more. Please wait a minute. I'm almost done. And so this was actually the lucky charm talking to the witch. So as time went on, the witch got more suspicious. And so every time the woman called out, the same answer from the lucky charm would come out and answer the witch. And so finally, the witch opened the door to the toilet and found out that the boy was gone, and there was the lucky charm sitting on the ground. And so the witch got so mad, and said, oh, that stupid boy, I'm going to get him and eat him for sure. And so she chased down the mountain after the boy. But soon she was able to catch up with the boy. And the boy thought, oh no, for sure, this witch is going to catch me. And so he took out another charm and said, lucky charm, become a river to block the witch. And all of a sudden, there was this big stream, a big river, going in between him and the witch. And the witch fell into the river and was swept away by the water currents. And so the young monk continued to run away. But the witch, she was very clever, and she used her magic to make the river disappear. And she continued chasing after this young boy. So as the witch was running and getting closer to the boy, again, he took out another lucky charm, and he said, lucky charm, be a fire and block the path of the witch before she gets me. And so the charm became this huge ball of fire, blocking the witch and letting the boy run further. But then the witch again used her magic to blow out the flames and then continued her chase. But by that time, the boy was able to finally reach the gates of the temple, and there he was able to find the head priest. And so he told the head priest what had happened. He found the witch and he was using the charms to hopefully get away, but the witch was soon coming to the temple. And so the head priest tells the young boy, so you finally did meet the mountain witch there. So, have you learned your lesson? And so the young boy thought about it and said, oh, headmaster, please forgive me. I will behave and listen better to what you have to tell me. And so the head priest told the young monk to go ahead and hide in a large basket next to the gates of the temple. And so the boy got into the basket, and soon enough, the witch finally came to the gates of the temple, and there she met the master priest of the temple. And so the mountain witch says, priest, there's a young boy who ran into this temple. You must give the young monk up to me. I want to have him for dinner. Please bring him out to me. But the headmaster pretended not to know anything. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been sitting here eating rice cakes, and I haven't seen any boy running around here. But this made the witch even madder. And the witch said, you're just pretending that you don't know. But it makes no difference to me because I'm going to eat you instead of the young boy. But the head priest, he was very clever. He started to laugh. And he says, well, since you're the mountain witch, you have to show me all the magic powers that you have. I want you to impress me of all the powers that you have. And so the witch laughed and said, all right, you tell me what to do, and I'll use my magic to do what you tell me. And after that, I am going to eat you up. So the priest said, okay, mountain witch, make yourself as big as you can. And so the witch used her magic, and she became this huge giant, 8 feet, 10 feet tall, at the gates of the temple. And the head priest said, oh, that's really impressive. Now, can you change yourself into a horse? And so the witch said, oh, that is so easy. And so she used her magic to turn herself into a horse. And then the priest said, you can make yourself as big as you want, but I want to see how small you can be. And so he asked the witch, turn yourself into a little small lima bean. Can you do that? And so the witch laughed again and said, of course I can. Watch me. And she turned herself into this little small lima bean onto the floor, onto the ground of the temple. And then the priest quickly snapped up this bean, this lima bean, and he put it into his rice cake and gobbled it up. So that was the end of the witch. And after that, no one ever heard again about the witch in the mountain. And so everyone was safe for those who went up hiking into the mountains, and that there was no witch to haunt them or to eat them if they went there. And so from then on, the young monk, the novice, listened very carefully to what the head priest told him and became a very diligent monk, listening to the Buddhist teachings and listening to what the master monk told him to do. So what's the moral of the story? So one of the lessons is that we all need to listen, and to listen especially to the Buddhist teachings. And so that means that all of us listen to Mago Sensei and Van Sensei and myself, our Dharma teachers, and even at school to listen to our teachers and what our parents try to teach us in life. So, when we listen, that's all part of the five senses that we all have, right? We all have senses to hear and to see and to touch and to smell and to taste. And if we don't have any of these senses, then it's very difficult to identify what's going on around us in this world. And so for the Buddhist teachings, we say the words Namo Amida Butsu. So Namo Amida Butsu means I take refuge in Amida Buddha. So we concentrate at the temple of what we say and what we hear. So the words Namo Amida Butsu, they are also the voice of Amida Buddha calling to all of us. So it is the voice of the Amida Buddha telling us that it is his wish for all of us to go to the Pure Land. And it is there in the Pure Land that we will find peace and bliss in our lives. So in Shin Buddhism, we call the act of listening to be listening with the ears and with the heart. And so when we listen carefully, the whole world opens up to us. From my earlier reading, I read that when we hear the Amida Buddha, he calls us people of great and vast understanding, and he calls us a pure white lotus. So this is like our mind. Our mind becomes enlightened and grows like the lotus out of the mud of delusions and attachment. So, last year during summertime, a group of us from the Arizona Buddhist Temple went to Japan, and we saw many lotus flowers growing from the ponds in Japan. And so this is similar, like our mind, going from the mud of delusion and desires and becoming enlightened, this mind becoming and blooming like the pretty lotus flower. And so I know for Dharma students, you're all excited for Halloween. I know that all of you are going to dress up in your costumes. But whether you're at the temple or whether you're at school and with your parents, please listen to what is being told to you. And please learn the lessons that we at the temple teach you and what the teachers teach you at school and what your parents are trying to teach you. So if you don't listen, I know as children, we all get into trouble. So it's very important to always listen to hear what is being told to you. So thank you for listening to me. I wish you all a very safe and happy Halloween. This time reminds me of when my own parents always took us trick-or-treating during Halloween. And so for me, I have a peanut allergy. And so all the Snicker bars, all the Baby Ruths that I collected in my basket, I always gave to my sisters because they were never allergic to peanuts, but they were always happy to get the candy I gave them after Halloween. So again, please be safe. Always listen to Buddhist teachings, to your teachers, to your parents. And I hope to all see you again soon at the Buddhist temple when we open up. So in closing, please join me in Gasho. This is again from the reading of Shoshinge written by Shinan Shonin. All foolish beings, whether good or evil, when they hear and entrust in Amida Buddha's universal vow, they are praised by the Buddha as people of vast and excellent understanding. Such a person is called a pure white lotus. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you and be safe. Namo Amida Butsu. Amanda Butsu.